Before we begin today's episode of Living the DreamWorks, we're gonna give a shout out to our sponsor, Elmer's Glue. Go to elmersglue.com and type in the promo code SPIRIT for 25% off your next purchase of Elmer's Glue.
No.
Elmer's Glue, we're sticking together.
Oh, what the
Music.
what the fuck?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 6 of Living the DreamWorks, where we talk about every single DreamWorks animated film, including the horse one. So today we're talking about Spirit. What's it called? Rise of the Guardians? Stallion.
No, what?
Stallion of the Cimarron.
Rise of the Guardian?
For the life of me, and I apologize in advance, I know I'm going to offend somebody, but for the life of me, I could not stop calling it Spirit, Stallion of the Cinnamon.
I almost made that joke. I almost did.
No, it's not a joke, though. Like, I legitimately could not stop calling it that.
You know what? I called it Spirit, Stallion of the Chimera. That's what I kept calling it the whole time. So I kept being like,
Chimera?
Spirit, Stallion of a car. That's what I basically
Stallion of the
pictured.
Cimarron.
Whatever.
Welcome to
Stallion of the Ka-chow!
Pixar's Spective never dies.
Pixar's Spective never died. Jeffrey Katzenberg. Oh, I can't believe Pixar's Spective hasn't died.
Welcome. This is episode 6, and we are talking about Spirit, the horse movie. So before we... first I have to say, I'm the Wash. Who are you? Sir? Who are you?
Nay.
Oh, it feels so weird that I'm just gonna say I'm Claire after that, but I am Claire.
The horse movie. Who has experience with the horse movie?
This is all an account for my mom, because I actually wound up watching this movie with her, and she had some things to say about it too. So, but I told my mom today, because I waited till almost the last minute to watch this movie, and I was like, "Hey, can I watch watch Peacock for a bit?" Because she usually watches stuff, and I was like, "What you watching?" I'm like, "I'm gonna watch Spirit," and she's like, "Oh, I showed this to you and your sister as a kid," and I'm like, "I don't remember that." And apparently, what happened was she showed it to me and my sister. I was playing with my toys while the whole movie was going on, so completely checked out. But my sister really loved this movie, like really loved it, and because of this movie, loved horses. So she kind of got into her little horse girl phase. My mom basically bought her a bunch of horse toys. Like, I think we used to own like a
horse,
like a figurine, a figurine of Spirit himself. Like we used to own like a little horse toy from it. She was into all sorts of horse things, My Little Pony, a bunch of different horse stuff, and I think that phase lasted for about a year or two. I don't remember. It definitely stopped, that's for sure.
My experience with Spirit, Stallion of the Sombrero.
Random almost spat out his
Right
drink.
when Random was drinking, I apologize. My experience.
I knew it. As soon as I heard sombrero, I was looking at Random's camera. I'm like, disaster strikes.
No one's gonna see this.
My experience with this film is this played. I'm pretty sure this was like an unskippable trailer at the start of the Shrek DVD. So whenever we wanted to watch Shrek, we had to watch the Matt Damon narration over horses. And so I just remember like that eagle shot, and then it transitioned to basically like that first like 2 minutes of the film that's what was in the trailer. So that's pretty much all I really knew about it. I wonder if I had seen this at as a very young kid and like just like purged it out of my memory, because there's like maybe like I saw like the end of this or something where like something about this felt like a tiny bit familiar, but otherwise no, nothing. This is effectively my first time watching. What about you, Claire?
And I hate to be the bearer of boring news, but literally nothing. Even in like I watch DreamWorks ranking videos because I am slowly morphing into a DreamWorks stan. But whenever it gets to this movie, I just skip. Because I've never seen it. So it's like, and I mean, I've seen this movie ranked pretty high up in the past. So getting close, like getting into like almost the top 5, if not the top 5, and having to skip has always been a little awkward. So now I can go back, listen to people talk good about the movie, and be like, okay,
good for you.
Good for you. What?
So,
are you saying you aren't a fan of Spirit, Stallion of the Serotonin?
No, I'm not. But we'll talk about that. What is the plot of the horse movie? Is the plot just like
Okay,
it's about a horse named Spirit who gets taken away from his family to be part of a like an 1800s U.S. Army escape, and also makes the train explode, and then back with his family. The end. Everyone's hunky dory.
There was a warning when we looked at this film in the Wikipedia page, and the warning was concept thought of by Jeffrey.
Okay, I'm glad you mentioned that.
Our old pal Jeffrey.
Our old pal
Jeffrey.
I'm glad you mentioned
our old pal Jeff,
because I did like I noticed that. I was like, oh my god, I can't wait. But I checked through. I couldn't find like proof of this. I'm gonna assume that they're like right because of the way like Jeffrey Katzenberg talked about this movie.
How does he talk about this movie?
So okay.
How? I want to know.
I kind of want to save for this, but
okay.
Where do we start?
Let's talk about the horse.
Nope. I don't want to hear where you want to start, Wash. I'm sorry. I know I'm kind of looking in your direction right now. Random, buddy. Where do you want to start?
Why? Do you want to ask me that?
Well, oh, gee, I wonder why.
All right, let's start at the beginning where we see Matt Damon narrating horse.
A horse birth.
Horse birth. Yeah.
Horse birth and horse breastfeeding.
Wait. Oh my. Wait. We're jumping way ahead here. First off, we get.
What do you mean way ahead?
That's the beginning of the film.
I know it's the beginning of the film, but we see like a whole shot of like the land and his house, like it's ageless land where there were no years and there was no man and shit. And then it was just like, and then it shows the CGI horses running in a stampede, and it's like, oh, that looks nice, that looks cool, that looks pretty. And then they keep showing it. They show it some more with some music playing, and then we get to the horse birth. And
so the horse birth wouldn't be the beginning then. It's the CG. Do we want to start there?
It's like a little bit better than like the background characters from Road to El Dorado, but like not much.
I want to know what the heck happened from Prince of Egypt to these two movies, because it did not look that bad. It looked old, but it didn't look that bad in Prince of Egypt.
I know what happened. The budget probably got cut.
Valid.
Since we were talking about our good friend Jeffrey, because one of the things when I was looking into like the creation of this, Jeffrey said to somebody that because the whole conceit of this is, at least the pitch of this movie is that it's like the story of the American Old West through the horse's point of view. Like what were the wild horses going through? It's like, okay, and obviously like that's the premise that would be appealing to kids that like animals, like Random Sister. just get into a horse phase for a full year. Jeffrey like swore that like from the beginning, like they didn't want the horse to talk because it's too much like Mr. Ed. It's like we never even tried it because in our mind it just suddenly made the movie undramatic. And then they asked the screenwriter and he said, "Oh yeah, we were doing that for like 2 years and then we changed our mind." So it's completely contradicting. And like one of the co-directors had to kind of like waffle, just be like, well, like the animation process is like complicated. It's like we use the script and like you have to have dialogue in the script, but then we slowly developed it and
now he just doesn't talk. We just have the ability to read the horse's mind.
and then like
okay,
like even with
Wash, we'll get to you later. I'm seeing like the veins pop in on Random's head.
I'm fine. I'm fine.
Okay, you want to talk about why you're fine?
Well, we'll go back to the horse birth because that was when that because that's Bert's our main character.
Let's look long and closely at the horse birth.
Well, just like we did in the fucking movie.
It took like a minute. Why is this so long?
It goes. Hold on, we'll get to that. That's a problem with the whole film, but we'll get to that. We get like a very long shot of the horse breathing heavily and going through birth, and then I'm like, okay, this shot's going on a bit longer than it should, but it's fine. And then again, I'm watching this with my mom, by the way. Just reminding you all, my older mom, my mom is watching this too with me as this is going on. And we see Spirit, and I'm like, okay, the bird scene's over. That's great. He's kind of adorable. He's very adventurous. He's spunky. He drinks the horse breast milk right out of there. There it is.
And just like milk all over his mouth.
Yep, and I'm just like, and I literally turn to my mom and we just go, what the fuck? And I go, what the fuck? That's not good dinosaur level of what the fuck. But
I can imagine. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying it's not good dinosaur level of like what the hell. It's nowhere near that. But it caught me off guard a bit for a movie in the 2000s.
I can imagine a family watching them, like they're just out in public or whatever. The movie's on TV. They're watching it with their kids. It gets to the breast milk part, and then up from behind the curtains jumps out old pal Jeffrey, and he says, "That wouldn't be in a Disney movie."
You know, that's exactly why that's there. You know it. And then we watched a movie, and it plays. We get to see Spirit's life, if that's his real name. We actually don't technically know if it is, but they just call him it. I don't fucking know. And we'll just
call him Spirit. It's fine.
We'll just call him Spirit. And then we see him grow up. We see him interact with other animals, and we see him interact with other horses. We see him eventually grow up to be like the leader of the horse pack. And about 10 minutes in, we're still doing this. We're still slowly looking at shot of the horses, looking at the shot of Spirit.
Cutting from one Bryan Adams song to the next.
Yes. Montage after montage. Just goes on for like 10 minutes. And if you think, oh, this is just the opening, you're just warming things up before the action happens. No. There's so much time that could have... This was an hour and, like, what, 30 minutes? Hour and a half?
It's not even. It's like 83 minutes.
They stretch this shit out the entire movie. And it goes to the point where, like, I think it's, like, right when, like, he takes over and they're, like, right before he goes to meet the humans. And he just, like, he's walking around and he's slowly walking. And it's slowly showing the other horses. I'm making chicken nuggets and I hear a ding, but I wait for it because I'm waiting for, like, I'm trying to watch the film. Eventually, my mom just shouts out of the blue, "This is really boring." And I'm like, "Yeah, you're right. I'm gonna eat some nuggets." And I just I go back, take nuggets out of the plate, get some ketchup, put it on, go walk back to my couch, which takes about like a minute or two. They're still not at the humans yet. Going back to the thing about the not being able to talk, I kind of like that the horse doesn't talk. Does the neighing get a little annoying? Yeah, it kind of does. It worked with a later Pixar film, although that Pixar film of no talking worked a lot better. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Ratatouille.
Yeah, Up, right?
I was gonna say WALL-E.
Well, yeah, but I'm picking the one specifically with the annoying narration.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I just picked Up because it was the first movie that came into my
head. And basically, I was on board with it first, but the narration kind of like...
I feel like I have a whole discussion about the fucking narration.
The narration feels like it's just cheating. Almost like, yeah, we have an animal that doesn't talk, but we secretly have Matt Damon narrating the parts to like give you idea of what he's feeling and actually going through instead of relying on the visual storytelling that should tell us what he's feeling and showing. But no, we're going to have Matt Damon talk for an hour and 20 minutes just to say, mares.
That might have been the worst part of the movie.
I literally groaned. I groaned so hard the second I heard that. I'm like, fucking really? I know this came out in the 2000s, but really?
Because I mentioned earlier that like they had a decision, they made a decision like partway through of like removing dialogue. I feel like Jeffrey is like, we don't want the horses to talk. We don't want them not to talk. He was the one that specifically like asked the screenwriter to like put in narration, and then we'll have both Matt Damon and Bryan Adams narrate the film. Both of us were terrible.
Yeah,
terrible.
Like there wasn't a single song I liked or was memorable in this at all. Like, at least I tried. I tried to be like, okay, pop song, no. This song, no. This song, no.
I mean, so the soundtracks themselves are completely different, but like, it's the same problem, and stay with me. It's the same problem that Holy Musical Batman has. It's all one song.
Yes! Oh my god, that's the perfect comparison. Go on.
Okay, so I said this already, so we're not going to have a huge ha-ha, but I do want it recorded for the podcast. The first thing I did, other than tell Random and watch that, I'm ready, we can start. The first thing that I did was I went to YouTube and I looked up Smash Mouth All-Star, because I don't like the songs in this movie regardless, right? But after watching Shrek not even a week ago, wow, holy macaroni.
Oh my god.
Some horse joke.
It is like...
night and day. I'll say it straight up. I think I like Shrek a little more than I did last week.
Thank you.
This really put into context how easy, I don't know how hard it is to get it right or how easy it is to get it wrong. I don't know. But regardless, just how impressive it is that every single song in Shrek works.
Thank you, Spirit, Stallions of the Coconuts. I wouldn't have been able to appreciate Shrek more if it weren't for you.
I still don't know if I like Shrek more than Prince of Egypt, but we're getting there. One step at a time.
I was going through, as part of my research, I was going through like some of the contemporary reviews at the time, and most of the ones that were like dissed the movie, like dissed it for like really stupid reasons.
Really? Like what?
Like one of them from the New York Times, Dave Kerr, he said that Spirit might have been helped by some comic relief. One of those cute shadowy characters with the voice of Eddie Murphy or Robin Williams. No!
No! No. Not at all. I think I would hate it even more.
Okay. All right. Hear me out. I agree with you too, but also I want to see that version of the movie.
It's also played by a donkey.
Yeah, literally.
This is how the review like started. This is from the Guardian's Peter Bradshaw. Stallion, excuse me, to qualify as a stallion, don't you have to have a certain something and a certain two subsidiary something? This trio of necessities has been coyly removed from each of the wild horses in the new animated family feature from DreamWorks. Like,
Okay, what?
I'm picturing this guy like he's standing up in the theater. It's like, why can't I see his balls?
I really want to see the movies these people want. It's like, what? What horrifying concoction would we have to sit
when I thought we were gonna look at this at Spirit Stallions of the Chupacabra, I did not expect that we were talking about this.
But all this is to say, like, I did find one review that like matched up with what I was saying and had the point that's like, the makers had a great idea and they screwed it up. Like,
yeah.
They like you have the premise is animated movie about the horses in which the horses don't speak English. They communicate in horse sound. No cute talking animal stuff. This is from San Francisco Chronicles, Mick LaSalle. This was to be a serious picture of the story of the Wild West as seen through the eyes of a Mustang. But the concept was immediately compromised by the insertion of voiceover narration spoken by Matt Damon. And to make things worse, the Bryan Adams songs were added in that, in a plaintive, unhorse-like way, speak to the animal's thoughts at critical moments. Whereas, like, as soon as, like, Spirit is born, like, Bryan Adams says, "Here I am!" The narration, it feels insulting. It feels like it doesn't think I'm paying attention to the movie.
It is insulting.
So, I was thinking about two movies a lot while I was watching this. One of them we'll get to a little later, but the movie that I was thinking about, and I don't know, this is the movie that I wanted. I don't know if it would have helped. I don't even know if like it would have made the movie better, but the movie that I want, after that first like 10 minutes or so, I was thinking a lot of Fantasia. If this was one story, and the music got to tell the story, which is what was happening when there was no narration and no songs. I know the problem would be then it would be a Disney film and Jeffrey Katzenberg would immediately croak.
Yeah.
But if because I mean there are scenes where Spirit and everyone are, they're running and there's this sweeping orchestra, or one of the few times where there wasn't like a stupid narration or songs playing in the background, but the music had changed. Was when it's a little later in the movie, but when I'm literally looking at Wikipedia, Daniel, I guess his name is, lets Spirit go and he tries to bring hetero female horse along. She doesn't want to go, and then they look at the village and it's being invaded. The shift in the music, that really reminded me of Fantasia. And I actually kind of like that part. It really reminded me of Fantasia. And I remember thinking, even if it had to have songs just less, but even if it had to have, songs to, make sure that Jeffrey Katzenberg didn't die on the spot, like it would have been fine. I think the movie really could have benefited if it used its soundtrack more, because the parts that I wound up liking, for, as much of a visual splendor as it can be, for, the little moments that do work, I was not the songs. The songs are the polar opposite, but I was kind of drawn to the music.
Oh, the Hans Zimmer score. That's the same one that did Prince of Egypt, right?
Yep, and he's done a lot of other films since.
And a lot of other
Hans Zimmer's films, yes. Hans Zimmer is everywhere.
Well, yeah. Yes. I can't believe it's like this is making me miss like Randy Newman.
Once a horse, little horse.
Drank breast milk.
A horse is a horse, of course.
It's a horse.
The problem with the narration is a combination of like writing and performance.
Yeah.
Oh, the performance is so bad.
It doesn't help that like Matt Damon sounds like he couldn't give a shit about.
I was so befuddled. Like, is he just like doing this like is it like a nature documentary? Like he's just saying this like so dryly. But like, even if he like performed his heart out, like I just can't like hear like the good version of sometimes a horse has gotta do what a horse has gotta do.
I hated that line. So
something new came upon the land that night, something that would change my life forever. And so my journey began.
Can I say can I say the single worst line of the whole movie?
Go ahead.
Is it a single word?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's two sentences, actually.
Go
okay,
ahead.
Go on. I think I want to know.
Oh no. Oh, yeah.
Oh, God!
I wrote that down.
I don't do this often on the podcast. For everybody who follows me, I apologize in advance. But when he said that, I stood up and I went, fuck you.
Yeah, well deserved. I probably would have done the same if my mom wasn't in the room. But to be fair, she was falling asleep at that point, so I could have gotten away with it.
That would have helped wake her up, I'm sure.
Yeah. Who wrote that? Like, I get it where, like, he says, it makes sense for Little Creek is his name to be like, oh no. That happens. I can see that. But just him to go like, that felt like something the scriptwriter was like, let's add this cheeky line in here. That
Maybe Jeffrey himself just be like, you know what'd be funny? But we don't know. What we do know is that it's shitty.
it's so shitty.
It's so bad.
It's again, like, it's so insulting to our intelligence.
Yes.
Like it thinks that I'm not watching the film when it has to like describe what is literally happening. When Spirit is like, there's some stuff that should have been like really sad, like Rain, the lady horse, getting shot, and like Spirit is like comforting her and like trying to stay with stay through the night, and the narration is like, I stayed with her through the night because I wanted to see if she would get better.
Yeah, and then so what makes that part even worse is that later on, when Daniel, apparently his name is
his name that? Are you sure? I thought it was like Little Creek or something.
No, the character's name is Little Creek, played by Daniel Studi, who's West Studi's.
Wow, I'm so annoyed at this and even bother to read the Wikipedia page correctly.
Yeah. But by the way, Daniel Studi is like West Studi's son. It's the same West Studi from Street Fighter that we talked about.
It's a small world after all.
Yeah. Now I'm thinking, like, what if instead of watching this movie, I watched Street Fighter instead? Random's going off about how much he hated, and I was like, I thought M. Bison was pretty good.
Quick, change the movie.
Good joke. Golf clap for that one.
Thank you. Just came up on the spot.
When the train was coming down to the village and it was like exploding and everything, one of the colonists look at the train and goes, I knew I never should have quit Microsoft. All right, anyway.
We are jumping all over the place.
Before this becomes Street Fighter, the podcast episode 2.
So I'm conflicted because, like, I found the scenes in the fortress actually kind of interesting a little bit. Don't get me wrong, they dragged that too with the song. Like, again, they could have just cut.
They dragged it for 3 days.
They do. But when they get to the fort and you see the colonel being like, I'm gonna break that horse. First off, you see how Spirit like interacts with them by like beating the shit out, beating the absolute shit out of them, even when his legs are tied, which is, and I'm just like, and then you just see him like everyone take turns to try and ride him, and I'm like, is this MacGyver the horse? Like what?
What? What do you mean? Like, is he making like pipe bombs out of like straw? What are you talking about, MacGyver?
No, like he's like, this is what. Well, to be fair, he is trying. He finds every way he can outsmart these humans, and I'm just like,
he's a clever horse, yeah.
But again, I guess that's the point. He's the spirit that never breaks, which they say outright. And I know because they say it outright at the end of the movie. That's how you know.
At one point, he does break, but then he sees snow and he changes his mind.
Okay, so I have 2 comments about the fort. One good, one huh? I'll start with the good. Therapy exercise.
Yes.
I do like when I mean, I guess it's immediately outdone afterwards, but when the main villain, whatever his name is, when he
not General
tries
Custer.
Yes, not General Custer.
That's what
when he tries to ride Spirit, and at first he actually succeeds, and you can just see like the exhaustion, kind of a little bit of afraidness, like just anxiety in Spirit's eyes, and he goes, "This is how you tame an animal," and you can just see again the defeat and the panic. I thought that was really good with the animation, which We'll talk about it. But the part that when it happened, and I'm thinking about it for the whole movie, when not Daniel, that's not his name is Little Creek, but when Little Creek gets tied up and they're there for a couple days, and then a knife flies out and it lands really close to him. Where did that knife come from?
No, because we hear they do like, oh, like that was a call to like to his tie.
Yeah.
So there's presumably there's somebody like outside, like they know that he got captured inside there, doing the thing that like, because there are so many like owls and wolves in the desert that they have to do that they do that just to make to like communicate with each other, and then they prepare the knife. But also they do this like right before like like everybody wakes up, like right when they're like oh no, now there's pressure.
Yes. Which didn't really matter.
Well, that must have went right over my head.
Yeah, I understood that.
I did not think that at all. I was just like, where did that knife come from?
My funny thought was just they just yeeted the knife. What if like what if they just all of a sudden you're whoo, and all of a sudden the knife flies out, it cuts to black. Ah!
End of the movie.
Or worse, it cuts to black and roll credits.
They would have thrown the knife. It would cuts to black. You would have heard "Youch."
And then Brian Adams said, "Look into my eyes."
When the knife lands on the ground, it goes, "Somebody."
The part that confused me, it's not confusion, it's just like stupid. What the fourth was, this was like the same day, because pushed them out for like 3 days, no food or water. We're gonna try to break the horse's spirit, and like his army, like one of his subordinates says to him, "Sir, we find some what is it like? Oh yeah, sir, we found some like hostiles that are heading north." And his immediate thought is like, "I want to ride the horsey." It's just completely ignores what they were talking about like strategy and like enemies up here. It's just like I'm gonna demonstrate to my men how to ride a horse.
Listen, men, this is how you ride a horse like a man.
Sometimes a man has got to do what a man has got to do.
A baby's got to do what a baby's got to do. You just
we're gonna leave this session. Goodbye.
No.
And then, and especially like with that with that colonel, like. Well, by the way, that his is like credited name. He doesn't have a name in the film, so he is the colonel.
He's just called Colonel.
He's just called Colonel.
Yeah, like Little Creek's friend and a Little Creek's friend and Train Pull Foreman, best character.
Best character.
With the Colonel, that just like getting like ridiculous, which like, why do you still care about the horses? Like they were chasing after him into the desert.
I've trained all the horses in the world. I won't let anybody. Even you can train every
like,
horse.
The horse does like one cool jump, and like his men tries to shoot him. It's like, no, let him go.
Are we gonna talk about that right now, or are we gonna wait a little bit?
I want to wait. We still got a while to go.
God,
you know what did make me laugh, and I'll give you credit for this.
36 minutes left on the timer.
When they start doing the whole like, they have this one bald guy who's like who like tries to like polish him, clean him, cut his hair, and that's the first guy like Spirit pummels. I'm like, okay, that's pretty funny. He wrecks him pretty good. When they escape, when Little Creek and him escape, and they're at the gates, guess who is guarding them at the gates? That same bald man. And you just see Spirit give like a little smirk, and then he goes, oh, and then you just hear a bonk sound effect during a shot of the fortress exterior, and then you see him fly out, and then Spirit fly out as well. I don't know.
I got a good laugh.
What?
Yeah, it wasn't like a ha ha ha, but it was like a
yeah. I was like, that was like,
it was cute.
It was cute. I'll give you points for that.
What made me like smile a bit was just like how weirdly violent this movie is, because every time like the horse pummels somebody, I'm just thinking concussion, head trauma, broken ribs. Like people just
when they're trying to ride the horse and he keeps knocking them off, some of the ways that they fell down, I'm like, oh.
Like, I'm pretty sure one of them fell off a cliff.
Like, I've seen Jackass. I know that this doesn't end well for them.
Yeah.
Listen, Random, when they fall off the cliff, like, at least that's it. When they're knocked off the horse, like, ow.
Yeah, that hurts.
Ugh. I would say these poor people, but they're white colonizers.
Yeah. And sometimes they fly too.
Yeah, like that. They'll be dead. Like the Colonel, he flies. He flew like 200 feet, and then he just like dust himself off and just be like,
"Get off of me!
Get off of me! I'm okay. It's just
I'm gonna shoot this little
It's just a couple broken ribs."
Just a flesh wound.
Although very, I'll say this, very accurate. Says, "Get off of me!" And his first reaction when he looks at the horse that just knocked him off is to get his gun.
Yeah.
And it's like, accurate.
I would be like, I was gonna wonder when that was gonna happen. Here's a positive for me as well. The fire effects were pretty good.
We're not doing the therapy exercise, so this isn't cheating. This isn't a banned word. But I thought the animation was very good. I really liked the animation.
I thought it was okay.
The 2D animation I thought was very good.
Yes.
The CG for the backgrounds I thought was very good.
Yeah.
The CG characters.
Especially like this is probably like it probably looks fine in like a CRT monitor, not in like 4K.
No.
Yeah, here's my thing, and like I'm not trying to discount what you think, Wash, because I mean honestly I think it's very funny, but because I agree with you with the CG characters in El Dorado, like at least you got to look in the background for that.
Oh yeah, with so many of these is like they zoom straight into them.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I get it. I understand. It's a cost-cutting measure. You got to do it. Okay, fine. That's okay. But like, especially when the rest of the movie, I just think is very, very good looking. When it's so jarring.
Yeah.
And it's so like, at least for me, it was very obvious when they were like transitioning between like 3D and 2D, which they did a lot.
Yeah, there's that one shot in the opening when Spirit is running. And it like zooms in, like it zooms in on his hair, which transitions to the grass. Which that was a neat idea. But you can literally see it go from CG to 2D, and it's so early on. I was like, oh.
And it's just like you can see like his eye, like his like glassy eye.
It's weird.
I still want to say I really like the soundtrack, but I can't because you know it's a part of the soundtrack. Songs.
You like the score. Like you can say you like the score. Yeah.
I like Hans.
I liked how Spirit played dead. And the guy was like, oh, I don't know, get the mules. And then he escaped. And then he made a train fall and burned down an entire village.
And they run away from an explosion in slow motion.
God, I literally jumped at that. Like, what the fuck? When did this turn into live free or die horse?
Well,
I can't think of.
This is probably like the most nothing thing, but this like actually made me mad when the train crashed and it exploded and there is this big fire. The horse is like, yeah, and the celebratory music is playing, and I'm like, the wildlife, the trees,
yeah.
Okay, I don't know if you two noticed this. But before he starts running away, you can literally see squirrels running away.
Yeah.
Like their homes just got burnt down.
You destroyed a fire.
This isn't good news.
Yeah, you burned down a whole ecosystem. I don't care. I'm jumping off a cliff with my buddy Little Creek and getting home.
My buddy Daniel.
Which, by the way, the minute I saw a chain was stuck to him, I was like, he's going to get caught in it. He's going to get caught in it. He's gonna get caught in it.
I mean,
look, he got caught in
it so much.
My mom, every time she saw Little Creek, she was like, "Yeah, he's gonna die." and he didn't.
Congrats on her being wrong.
Yes, I'm glad she was wrong, but because she was so like concerned about you. She's like, "I remember him dying." I'm like, you don't remember Jack.
Oh, harsh.
Nobody dies in this movie.
And nobody died.
Not on screen anyway.
Even like the genocidal like colonel, he doesn't die. He's just like they just like nod at each other like they somehow talking to each other.
I understand you now.
Okay. So looking at the body count, Prince of Egypt, there are definitely people who died.
Yes.
Shrek, Farquaad died. Ants. I'm just remembering how the villain died in Ants. That was funny. El Dorado, people died. Chicken Run, yes, Chicken Run, like yes. Okay, so chickens died, whatever.
Chickens died, and Mrs. Tweety got crushed by like a floorboard, which could not be death, but also could be. Robin Hood was launched and hit his head on a rock, so he could be dead too. We don't see him get back up.
That's true.
DreamWorks has.
Although I do know that in Scared Shrekless they confirm that Farquaad is dead.
Yes.
No, that's not the ghost.
Anyway, I don't want this to turn into the second Shrek episode. My point is, I feel like this would have been. I'm not saying that those movies wouldn't benefit from a body count, but this would have been the first one where it would have been like, kind of makes sense. And then nobody died.
Yeah, no.
Like all the other movies, you could write out the deaths and I could understand, except Prince of Egypt, and maybe, at least make as much sense for people to die as Prince of Egypt, and nobody dies.
Yeah. Even though you think they would with like all the violence and all the horse throwing. Right.
Well, I guess a lot of animals died when he burned down the forest.
Yeah.
Our hero.
And they play
we have gone longer without actually talking about than we did Shrek.
Yeah, we've given up on talking about specific plot points. There's like Spirit is adventurous. Rain, the girl horse, is a girl horse.
I think like what this needed to be was like it needed to be like a series of like vignettes, smaller horse adventures to kind of like flesh out what like the Old West was like.
Instead, so you're saying this should have been a series?
Maybe. Like at least there like Jeffrey would be like, oh, we can turn this into a TV show.
It's good with its action. I will say that it's very good with its action. I was mostly bored when the horses were saying goodbye to Little Creek. My thoughts were, "Oh, it's just sad." My thoughts were, "Get on with it."
No,
get on with it.
No, my thought was because he said like go. I was just thinking like, get out of here, you stupid dumb animal.
We saw
Spirit goes to run away, but the cardboard. Oh my god, the cardboard. The wood on his forehead. The wood on his forehead. He keeps running into a door over and over. All right, before this turns into the sponge cast.
Is there anything else you want to say about this?
No I just had no thoughts at that point.
Yeah, I was done.
There's something about movies like these that really bothers me. I just don't know if I want to get into it yet.
Oh, you know what? It's funny. I just realized because I'm going through my notes now, just like looking for something, and like we said like random like mentioned Animal Farm earlier.
Yeah, I did
in a part that I cut out. And I just realized that like the screenwriter said that like the original pitch of this was gonna be something like Animal Farm, except it's just it was gonna be like the horses of like and like the animals are like different cultures. So like the buffaloes had their stories, the cavalry horses had their story, and it's gonna be like a lot darker. I don't know like if it was gonna go into like anti-communism level of.
We're sending Spirit to the glue factory in order to make sure the pigs are in power.
Everyone is spirited, but some animals are more spirited than others.
Oh my god.
I'm trying to think of anything else that was interesting in the movie. All
right, let's stop before this becomes the Animal Farm cast.
There was a moment where Spirit and the girl horse have a moment together, and all I could think of was "Can You Feel the Love Tonight" with the shittier soundtrack.
Can I talk about Bryan Adams?
Who's that?
I don't like how you said that.
Bryan Adams is
the way that you said that is how you talk before you're gonna get very upset.
Go on.
So go on. That's what I'm trying to say.
Brian Adams is the Randy Newman equivalent in this film. He's the one that's like singing all the songs. Just what was one of the songs? Get off of my back when people are like riding his back. Because man, oh man, that Brian Adams, he's so talented.
Get off my back.
I couldn't handle him at all. I never thought that he sounded good.
I'm sorry, Claire. I never thought I'd see the day when Wash would want Randy Newman instead of any other composer.
You know who they almost asked? You know who they almost asked?
Randy, please say Randy Newman.
Unfortunately, he was busy at the time.
Oh, I wonder with what.
They almost went with Paul Simon, and they almost went with Bruce Springsteen.
I have to. This isn't I want to see that movie. I have to see that movie.
Get off of my back.
Baby, I was born to ride.
They totally would have done that too.
I know we're a bunch of New Jerseyans, but like, no, the boss deserves a movie like this.
This would have been great. Honestly, I feel like it would have been more of a horse movie with Bruce Springsteen.
I feel like Bruce Springsteen like would sell that way better than a Canadian. I'm sorry, Count Rancid, but
I love this podcast. I'm sorry to any fans of Spirit who are actually watching this. All two of you.
Well, okay, to be fair, if there are only 2 fans of Spirit because only 5 people have seen the movie. And before we watched it, only 2 people had seen the movie.
Yeah, so. True.
When I was doing research, I was just finding like all these like tiny YouTube channels called like Spirit Stallion of the Cimarron Archive. Just
there's an archive?
There's like channels just doing like a collection. They do like everything about Spirit. So they have like gameplay footage of the PC game where Little Creek is just like hold the left mouse button to move around.
We're not talking. Is there anything we could say about the characters? Because I got nothing.
Spirit is. I don't think I would have liked it, but I would have at least considered it passable if they took out the fucking narration and the dog shit songs. Because it's like at its core, just like the idea, it's like okay, it's a horse that doesn't give up. That's it. That's all it really has to be. It's not. It doesn't need to be like a complex. It's the horse. It doesn't have to be that complex. They gave the horse eyebrows.
Like, they gave the lady horse fuck me eyes.
That's a sentence that I just had to hear. Thanks, Random.
They did though. You see a close up of her eyes.
You're not wrong.
And I bet Jeffrey Katzenberg was like, they don't do that at Disney. Although they do.
This is exactly what that Guardian critic was upset about. It's like the horse has fuck me eyes, but Spirit has nothing to use.
She's giving him the eyes, but she's got nothing to look at.
All right, we've got 19 minutes left on the timer, but I'm reducing it to 0. Time's up. Final thoughts? I'll start.
Are you serious?
No.
Oh man.
Oh god.
I think overall this is weirdly cynical of a product. Like one of the first things that Jeffrey said is that this has been made literally for every audience, every age group. Every human will be able to see this after they've seen Spider-Man and Star Wars, both of which were coming out at the same time. They're trying to compete with Spider-Man and Star Wars, and it did not.
It did not.
It was number 3 for one day, and that was it.
If this movie was actually good, he'd be right, because I see what he means. The problem is that it isn't.
This felt like it was trying, and I know this is it because it's Jeffrey we're talking about. This felt like it was trying to win an Oscar. This felt like Oscar bait.
From
the long,
that's a good way. Yeah.
From the long shots of the animation that don't really do anything, but are just there to show off how pretty and great it looks from the complex settings and topics and dealing with them like post America or like early American days to the sensitive and dark topics and to the it just felt like it literally was trying to be Oscar bait. And you know what the funny thing was? It got nominated, but it fucking lost to Spirited Away. Good for Spirited Away. Not only did it lose to something with spirit in its name.
Oh my god!
I feel like we have to end the podcast on that now.
Honestly, I know we're recording. This isn't even clip that. Somebody clip that. Oh my god!
I think that's it.
Want to do final thoughts? I think we should do final thoughts now.
I mean, you could have saved that one for 16 and a half minutes.
I'm sorry.
Do you really have I just have small stuff. Like the most I can really say is that because we're talking about animation, there's a lot of talk from the animators and directors about how hard it was to get the horses looking right. If you're I've said this a similar thing with another film I didn't care for, Road to El Dorado. If you're a student of animation, this is the movie you're looking for with horses. If you gotta figure out how to animate horses, this is what you're looking at, because they all have this weight to them, and they don't feel like Disney horses, which is to say dogs.
The only time I felt it was something like that is when Rain sat down. That's the only time I ever felt like dog horse. That was the only time. Yeah. And you know what? After a bunch of Disney dog horses, that's okay.
Yeah.
Take what you can get. One instance, you'll live. It's fine.
Yeah.
There's definitely time and attention, a lot of studying horses to get them all looking right, and just it's feeling both realistic and simplified for humans, because horses don't have eyebrows.
No, they do not. They can't do the
Oh?
Oh god, the look of horror when he saw that Rain horse interacting with a little creek. You just
it's just be just jealousy,
but also confusion.
Yeah. But
what did he say? It was something along the lines of she's playing with that two-legged or whatever, like he was one of us. I'll never understand. Just okay, get your paycheck, walk away.
Get your paycheck, Matt Damon.
all he's thinking is, I should have been in Spider-Man. I have nothing. That's it.
What would you want to say, Claire? Because you wanted to say something. I have no idea.
Right, this is gonna be the biggest Debbie Downer, and I'm so sorry for bringing this into your lives. This is the movie that came into my head. This isn't, not to say. So I was thinking of. I told you already. I was thinking of Fantasia. This isn't necessarily the movie that. It's just, this is the poster child for this kind of problematic display, so to speak. But when we saw there's just no easy way to say this, so I'm just gonna say it as blatantly as I can. When we saw the white people and we saw the stand-in for Native American or whatever it was for that time period, I thought of Pocahontas, and I remember thinking, well, okay, the movie is just started. There's a chance it's not going to be, hey, you know what? All of these white people, maybe they're not so bad. Maybe it's not going to be like that. I already hear Watch laughing. They know it's coming. It gets to the end. Spirit makes that jump. Oh, no. Oh, yeah. And I kill someone. And then the one white guy pulls out the gun. The white colonist captain colonel says, don't do it. And he gives him that nod, I understand, you can go. And it's stop trying to make white colonists seem like cool people. They aren't.
And it's so weird. Like I'm reading like reviews, and everybody was just be like, "This movie is so PC. Like, why do they make the white people look so bad?"
Oh gee! Oh my God! What line was? I had a line in my head where it was talking about Little Creek. It was something about his looks, how he like looked different. I was like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah, because he was talking about like comparing him to like different tribes because he's Lakota, and they were like comparing him to. I didn't write it down, but I know which one you're talking about. Yeah.
I'm not trying to super like look too, but we're watching DreamWorks movies. I'm thinking about other DreamWorks movies. I'm thinking about like all of the villains who have been punished for the horrible things that they've done.
Yeah.
And then this guy, this freaking probably, I mean, depending on how you want to, I don't know. If I'm not overreacting and I'm just thinking about some weirdo who's probably never going to watch our podcast, whatever, but it might be a bigger deal than I'm making it out to be. But I always think about like all of these movies that take place some movies that take place in the 1900s, but you know what I mean, like that period before ones that we're more familiar with, that like actual historical periods at this point, and these white colonists and these not white people, and the white even like they're the bad guys at first, but you know what? By the end, maybe they weren't so bad. It drives me up. Especially, like, we're talking about El Dorado. I literally thought about this in the podcast. But El Dorado, the villain of that movie, who was decidedly not a white colonist, he got punished. Farquaad got punished.
The guy in Ants got
Michael
punished.
Eisner got punished.
Guy in Ants fell off it.
Mrs. Tweedy got punished, although not technically a DreamWorks villain.
No. I mean, business got bankrupt. I mean, like, they don't have to die. I'm not saying that. I mean, white colonists dying would have been pretty nice, but but I'm not saying that like death is the only. It's like you die or you don't. I'm just saying like you're shown to be a villain versus you aren't. And the first character in DreamWorks to not be portrayed as a villain, who is a villain. Well, okay, I'm saying that wrong. Who doesn't get comeuppance for being a villain? That's what I should be saying.
This is the guy that like let a horse like starve.
Yes, abuses animals, slaughters tribes.
But Claire, he lost all his horses.
Oh no, not the horses that he was. No, not them. You know what? Maybe, I mean, like, Farquaad got eaten. That was a little much, right? We just let him go, right?
And Dragon shows up and eats the colonel, and he literally like punches a window.
Yep.
Well, listen. Shrek was amazing.
Could you imagine if he like fell off the cliff and just was like, the colonel? I mean,
sure, no splash.
Okay, all right. There is actually, I'm going to talk about Peter Pan for like a second, but that is a movie that has parts that haven't aged well. But you know what? It's Peter Pan. It is a great movie because there's so much around it. Like, I'm not saying you have to be 100% PC, right? Like, if it's a good movie, it's a good movie. You're just gonna have to be like, one, you need to understand that it was either a different time or it's not perfect. But you're also, you're acknowledging that it's not perfect.
Yeah,
Peter Pan's not perfect. There's that stuff. But what? It has Captain Hook and the alligator. It has all that imagination. It has incredible animation. Like there's a lot to love about Peter Pan. This movie has
this movie has Spirit jumping out of an explosion.
Explosion.
The exploding
am I nitpicking with the forest thing? Am I nitpicking?
No, you're not.
That seriously like really made me mad.
It made me mad too. I was like, you just gonna let it burn? And also, they jump off a cliff into the water, and somehow we're both fine. That would kill a man.
Yes, you're absolutely right. But specifically,
he carries a horse.
My
mom even said, like, how the fuck did he do that?
Specifically when the forest started burning, but like, who cares? Because he's away from the train. So it played this out like it was like, yeah, it was a triumphant moment while nature is burning.
You know what? If it was the colonel who was in charge of that, and he burned with the forest, that'd just be okay.
Spirit! Just screaming into the heavens. I'll get that gnarly horse.
Also, I learned what horsepower meant from this movie. Because I was like,
oh, like
why
literally, like the power.
Yeah,
of
why are they carrying the train with a bunch of horses? Oh,
yeah,
horsepower. Okay,
that's literally what it is.
I didn't know that until this movie. I thought it was just saying.
Well, I mean, not only was this movie fun, it's also fun and educational.
There's lots to learn.
Which horse is your favorite? Not all of them make it. Oh, wait, they do.
Say it before.
Wait, what?
Before this turns into the Trail of Oregon podcast episode 2.
Oh, no, let's make this Trail of Oregon episode 2. Let's do it.
How much time do we have left?
Okay, random watch. Which Star Kid would you cast as Spirit?
An actual horse?
Yeah.
There's no Star Kid, from what I'm aware. If there is Star Kid horse, my bad. But I don't think there's a Star Kid horse.
I would cast the Zephron poster.
I was going to say Joe Walker, but... Actually, no, Joe Walker. I should have said Joey Richter. Wait, who are the Buffalo? That was Joey Richter, of course. Who else was Rachel
that's
and
right.
Jeff Lynne, right?
Just kill me already.
Just do it, you motherfucker.
Sometimes it pays to be an animal. Sometimes
Sometimes
don't.
That's a much better message.
They should have played that song when Spirit was being dragged to the fort. When he has to look at the fort, they're all the enslaved horses. They should have played Sometimes It Pays
to be an animal.
I want to make an edit of that now. This soundtrack could have been so good if Jeff Blim composed the soundtrack.
Oh my god, it would have been perfect.
Oh my god.
Well, okay, Hans can keep the scout. He can keep the soundtrack, but Jeff Blim for the songs. It would have been some horrible tonal dissonance, but
that would be the comic relief we needed. Not a talking donkey.
Not a talking donkey.
Unless the talking donkey was actually an ox played by Joey Richter.
Of course. I'm having a moment. My eyes are closed. My hands are stretched. I'm becoming one with the movie I just watched. We can talk about. I remember one of you saying he sees snow on a train and it motivates him, but we'll talk about that later.
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
talk about how stupid that scene was.
Oh, yeah, it was stupid because he just looks defeated and then he sees, like, oh my god, they're heading to my homeland. No.
Oh, yeah, wasn't he like, I knew my pack was nearby? It's like, how?
Just because he saw the sun?
Listen, last night I was looking out the window and I saw snow that kind of looked like horses, so I could tell my pack is nearby. You want to help me out?
I still can't get over how he played dead and it worked.
Oh, what does that remind me of? Play dead and it works. I feel like I've seen that somewhere before, but it was funnier.
It's a common movie trope.
Oh, that's probably why, yeah. That's probably why I can't think of any specific example, because it's everywhere.
The only one I can think of is from a movie you don't like, so I'm not going to say it.
Is it A Bug's Life?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that was just
Oh, yeah, it was. Yeah.
It was, but it's like, they see when the bird is attacking and they're all acting like they're getting hit, you just hear the praying mantis go, oh, the pain, and then dies.
I mean, the characters in that movie dying, that's actually pretty good.
Yeah. But instead, Spirit just got loose, and...
Okay, so it was funny in this movie, just not for the right reason.
Yeah.
When he started wiggling his legs, I'm like, that's not going to work. And then it worked. I'm like, okay.
Okay. All right. Fine movie. Fine. I'm trying to think of anything else. Oh, God. I love how generic some of the horses were. And one was so generic that they just had to put paint on one of them to make you realize, oh, yeah, those are the horses from before.
Those are the horses from before, because you would not have been able to tell otherwise.
No, I wouldn't have.
No.
Well, one of the other one like had like the pony marks from My Little Pony, like the horseshoes.
Yeah.
Also,
I didn't know if that was like a paint or if that was like a pattern.
Also, what was up with those weird visuals during the snowstorm montage?
Oh yeah, I noticed that too.
It was pretty. It looked like something that could have been in Fantasia, but it just went.
What, the snow?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, it became the horses, but like, it's like mental gymnastics to figure out what the transition was from the snow to the horses. It was so sloppy.
It was so bad.
And the fucking Brian Adams is just like, no, I can't go on. I can't even start. I've got nothing left, just an empty heart. I hate his writing so much. I hate how he writes these songs.
So Random hates the script, Wash hates Brian Adams, and I hate white colonists. Good to know.
And on that note,
you want to know what none of us hate?
I was gonna say, you know what also hates white colonists? The timer.
Well, for all I know, the timer does not discrete.
Yes.
Or oh my god, what is that term? Discriminate. I'm talking about how much I hate white colonists, and I'm like, discriminate? What's that? Anyways, all right, hold on. 8, 7, 6, 5.
I hate this timer too.
2, 1. Okay, timer's up.
Oh, thank God.
We
should have ended this like 25 minutes ago.
Look,
we might edit some of this out.
So obviously none of us like the movie, right? But I love talking about these with you two. I didn't want we're good to end now. But until the timer ran out, I wanted to run its course because this was really fun.
Yeah, I will admit it was fun talking to you about about this stupid spirit Stallion of the cinnamon roll. It was really bad. So bad.
I guess who wants to go first?
Who does want to go first? Do you want it to be me? I don't think you do.
I guess I'll go first. Like, God. So it's just that, like, right now I'm at the conundrum. Did I like this less than Ants? I guess, like, if I have to, like, give it, like, the credit, is that it's not a bankrupt idea. Like, it's not like this is an idea that would never work. Of like I said, like American Old West told through horses. There's a solid thing there. This could have been like an early competitor to like Wall-E, but the problem is it's just how insulting the narration. I could not get into this film, and when I found out that like they originally had even more narration and had to cut some stuff out, it's like, you did not go far enough. You did not go far enough.
You did not go far enough.
This is a great movie for kids under 10. It has the nutritional value of sawdust as an adult. It's just not that good. But it's not like I like hate. It just felt like it was like fighting me to enjoy this. Whereas like Ants, it's like it's just fighting me in general.
That adds.
It's just pummeling me.
Think for yourself.
The horses control the horses that are on the train. They just stop going and they're like, the horses control the music.
One of the horses gets their body cut off and they're like, don't be like me, spirit. Think for yourself.
Okay, I will grant this. I don't remember being nearly as bored with Ants. I think Ants is slightly better. Only slightly. Because,
wow.
Jesus Christ, do I not like Ants.
I didn't expect that from you.
I was kind of hoping, just because Ants is so funny to me.
The part of what made this stuff a struggle for us is like the same thing when we were like trying to pad out the talk for Cars 3. It was just, it's so boring.
We had Rancid for that one at least.
Yeah. I wonder how Rancid would feel about this movie.
He'd have a lot to say. I know.
It's the movie to make kids get into horses, And that's about it.
I'll try to make it quick just to give our good buddy a little more time. So there is one YouTuber that I really like. Random, you know who this is.
Yep.
Who made a list of best DreamWorks movies, one of the many that I have seen. And he put this movie at like number 6. He had it so high. And I remember not really caring about it because I'm not super into horses. But when we agreed to watch every movie, I remember thinking, oh, well, I've never seen Spirit. I take his opinions into very high regard because even if I don't agree with him on them, you know, he's got good takes. And he's, you know, generally a good person, blah, blah, blah. So it's like, okay, so he's got me a little excited for this. I mean, obviously I'm keeping my expectations level-headed, but, you know, after, especially after Shrek and Prince of Egypt, and even something smaller like Chicken Run or, I mean, Ants and El Dorado to me weren't that bad. So I was like, you know, I remember Sinbad not being good in the absolute slightest, but if we just get, you know, a nice little surprise to Spirit before getting into Sinbad, hey, who knows? Now I'm kind of thinking, was Sinbad really that bad? Was it really? Oh, because I can already think of a couple things. I can think of a couple things about Sinbad that I already know are like, oh, that's pretty cool. Because again, I have seen it once or twice. But Spirit, it's just I'm thinking back to it, and it's like more than bored, I'm frustrated because I do see a Prince of Egypt Shrek level movie in here. I genuinely do, but oh yeah, it didn't happen. I'm sorry. Oh no. Oh yeah, it didn't happen. And it's so frustrating because I don't know if it would be better than those movies necessarily, only because I hold them in such a high regard. But like I'm saying that I see a movie that you can hold in the same light as those two. I don't like Chicken Run as much as I like those two, but like I'm a Chicken Run supporter here. And that's not even what we're talking about. I think Ants is hilarious, ironically, more than anything, but it's such a wild ride that I'm like, this is a good movie for me. That's not even what we're talking about. I said The Road to El Dorado deserved to be better. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking like sequel era Pixar for a different reason, but just in terms of like the ranking, like the general spot, we're talking like sequel era Pixar. So for all the differences in terms of why they're bad, the core is the same. It's frustrating because they could be so much better, but there are so many basic issues holding it back that it drives me up a wall. Not my cup of tea, but hey, if you like horse-flavored tea, may I recommend Spirit, Stallion of the No, not Cinnamon, god damn it. Whatever this stupid movie is called, Random, you're up. Do you need help? Because I got a question.
What is your question?
Is this better or worse than The Good Dinosaur?
Oh, he's thinking.
I see his face. We should record these.
No, it's not worse than The Good Dinosaur.
Okay. All right. And why? No, yeah, go on.
My mom and I had a great bonding moment as we both kind of hate watched this movie together. We kept making fun of it, wondering when it would end, praying that it would just get on with the shot every 5 minutes. And by the end of the movie, she gets up. We don't even wait for as soon as we see the credits roll, we turn off the TV. My mom gets up, she goes to me and says, "I'm going to bed. This made me tired." And she goes to bed and sleeps for a good 3 hours. This movie is horrendously boring. Horrendous. Less than 10 minutes in, this movie lost me. If I know why I didn't remember this movie, because I couldn't stomach it. I barely had the attention span for it. What kid has the attention span for this movie? It's boring. It's uninteresting. We don't know what they're saying with the narration. We just see, ooh, pretty horses. But that's it. If you don't care about horses, then you're not going to care about this movie. The story, the pacing is terrible. There's barely a story at all. Sure, it exists. He needs to get home, but it like goes all over the goddamn place, and the tone is all over the place. I wasn't disappointed because I didn't expect anything from this. I just figured, hey, it's a DreamWorks movie I never heard of. Now I know why. because it was just dumb, stupid, boring.
Body.
Somebody. The songs.
Nobody once told me how boring this movie was.
The narration and the songs made what was already boring drag even more. I felt like the movie was like clutching on shots, gripping it like it was trying to choke it. That's how much I felt like these scenes just dragged on and on. And what action there was some interesting stuff. I laughed at a bunch of stuff, a lot that I shouldn't have, but some that I should have. But it's just a horse movie that feels like that it was trying to be Oscar bait, but in reality, it was made for kids under 5 to watch. This is worse than Ants, no question. For one, I had fun with Ants. I had a decent amount of fun with it. Again, Ants was to me how Good Dinosaur was to you.
Yeah.
This, a polished turd is still a turd. Don't want to watch this movie again, but I'm gonna have to. And I hate that because I want to see if it holds up as worse than whatever other movies we watch.
Ooh, scary thought.
And
Terrifying thought.
Terrifying.
There's somehow be something more boring than this.
That's the thing. If I am a firm believer that I will take, like, boring is worse than Too Evil, like with the uncle from Higurashi, or other Pixar films and and other films that we worked on. The only exception is The Good Dinosaur, because it's fucking horse shit. It's the horse shit that came out of Spirit itself. That's how bad it is.
Oh.
I didn't say horse shit, I said horse shit.
Horse shit.
I was thinking that too.
Yeah.
But do I really think it's that bad? Oh no. Oh yes. I do.
No. Oh no.
Oh,
and then you make friends and then you make peace with a white colonist.
I didn't get to mention this, but like when I was watching, like I was watching it for a bit, and then like I would be scrolling through like Discord, and then I would like pause it for a bit, and then I realized that like I had spent like an hour watching like 10 minutes because I kept pausing the movie. Like at one point, like I paused the movie to just like fix my shower because I just wanted to get the. I'm pretty sure, yeah, because like I just replaced like the shower head, and now I got like a wand, so I can finally wash the harder to replace it.
This movie is the longest hour and 21 minutes I've ever had. My mom even said, "You're never getting any of that back."
God, morbid.
I think she hated this more than I did. Shout out to Mama Bystander if you were listening to this. I know you're not, but there you go.
Bringing back to El Dorado again, and like Frank Welker was the horse in that movie. He's great. Shouldn't have been Matt Damon, and they should have just gotten Frank Welker back. He's already proven to be a good horse.
Could you imagine if, like, instead of like, instead of Matt Damon, it was Fred Welker narrating his Fred's voice?
Yeah, I was just gonna say though, what would be funnier, Fred or Scooby?
Oh yeah, that came out the same year. The Scooby-Doo movie came out the same summer as Spirit.
Sometimes a voice is gotta do what a voice is gotta do. Ruh-roh, Raggy. Roh, yes, Raggy. And on that note,
if you liked what you listened to, you can check us out. You can subscribe to us on youtube.com/WRK podcast. To watch us in video form. Comment are always welcome. And you can also subscribe to us in audio form, wrk.simplecast.com, and wherever else you may get your podcast. And you can follow us on twitter.com/ WRK. Did I say WRK podcast for Simplecast? No, I didn't. WRK.simplecast.com and twitter.com/WRK podcast. And we'll let you know when the next episode comes out. Assuming like we don't have to pay like $1,000 a month to keep the Twitter account around. topical
God.
joke.
Well, listen. If we do have to do that, you can find us on SoundCloud.
Yes.
The soundcloud.com/PixarSpective.
Pixarspective, that's right. It's only called Pixarspective.
Because I never bothered to. The only thing I've ever done is...
update it. I want somebody to go there being like, oh, wow, I'm such a big fan of your DreamWorks podcast. And then they see that it's just the one Monsters, Inc. thing, and they would be like, Jeffrey Katzenberg was right the whole time.
Jeffrey Katzenberg is secretly a horse's ass, and that's why he wanted this whole movie to be made. Because he just wanted his...
There was Donkey in the last movie, now there's this movie about horses. It's coming together.
Jeffrey Katzenberg, well, I have to save my ass. With that, next up is... So bad.
Not Shrek 2, unfortunately.
No, it's not.
It's so close.
Bad.
It's so goddamn close.
It's so close, but it's so bad. It's Sinbad. Is it as bad as people say Sinbad is? We'll find out.
I'm nervous for two different reasons. One, I remember not liking this last time I saw it, but I'm even more nervous because I might not dislike it as much this time because of Spirit.
Yeah. I honestly am not looking forward to it, but we're going to be doing it anyway because we got to go through the bad to get to the good. Shrek 2 is so close. It's so close.
You know what's right after Shrek 2? Shark Tale.
This is what we signed up for, and this is what we're going to do.
Honestly, I'm excited for Shark Tale, honestly.
For one particular reason, but that's for much later on.
Yes, we'll reveal it soon enough.
I am the mayor.
I never want to watch this movie again.
I'm Claire.
Mayor Claire.
Mayor Claire.
And my pronouns are they, them.
Oh, yes, I want to talk about this. Your pronouns are they, them. Mine are she, hers.
And random is Stallion.
Just Stallion. Stallion, not like stall/lion. It's literally just Stallion.
I didn't give a shit about, just like I don't give a shit about this movie.
Hey!